Hey guys. Okay. Alexandra, class 3. You got me. No makeup, messy bun. This is how I work during the day. And thank you everybody for understanding why I needed to pre-record this class with the whole car mishap. I look like this because it all started at 5 a.m. this morning. So in between everything, I am trying to get this class filmed for you. So Alexandra, class 3/4. We will get her done. I will post this again, everybody. Thank you for understanding. Again, this is a pre-recorded class. Ignore how I look. I just felt like I needed to show you guys my face, but it's definitely not a makeup do your hair type of day. So, yeah, we're going to have the car looked at. We have the car home now. Now it's just a matter of finding a mechanic to look at it. So, yeah, so I'm going to get this done in between tasks. Get this up for you. Again, if you are watching this and you're part of the November 2023 Alexandra class, please do leave a comment down below so I know that you did attend this class and so I can mark it off. And everybody else, yeah, in the future, my car broke down with Dave on his way to work today. He works about 3 hours or 2 hours-ish outside of town through the mountain roads. The clutch went to the floor. We managed to get the clutch up, so hoping it isn't the clutch, but it may be something else. So we managed to get the car home, and now we are waiting for somebody to come and be able to look at it. So yeah, I'm going to try to get this class all done up so you guys don't have to wait for it. You get to see me in my natural state, which nobody gets to, but hey, we're friends. So yeah, so let's get to making this bag, and I'm going to keep everything face down on the table so you won't see my face the whole time. And I am going to be yeah, I'll be able to switch the cameras and everything nice and smooth because this one I am not doing as a live. So let's get to making Alexandra. Okay, so last class we got this far, so we got this front pocket done. The rest of the bag is actually pretty easy now that we got the hard part done. So what we want to do is we have these are pattern piece Ds, they're called the front side panels. And what we're going to do is you're going to kind of see how it moves over like this, so we expose the side piece. This is where we put on that gusset. We're going to take this piece and we're going to put it right sides together along the side. We're going to do the other side at the exact same time too. Oops, I got a clip that doesn't belong in there. Okay, and then you're going to just kind of take it and flip it over so it exposes the other side, and we can clip it in place at the same time. Okay, so then we're going to sew down each of these with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Open this up so the seam is going towards the side and top stitch through the side for both sides. Okay. One side sewn, flip it over, do the other side. And then while we're at the machine, we're going to change to our top stitching length and push that so the seam is going towards that side and top stitch through that side panel D piece. And same with the other side, just kind of move everything over. Like so. Okay, so now this is what we have. Now we have our center marked on our flap. Oh, I also have my turn lock installed there. And our center marked here. We want to match up that center. Clip it in place. This way too. Make sure your zipper pocket lining is up and out of the way, and go ahead and just baste that in place. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We all know how to baste, and then I'll come right back. Alrighty, so how awesome does that look? Looks pretty good. So you can set that aside for now. Now we're going to take our 2 panel A pieces. Now I'm doing this slightly different than the pattern. You can see how on her pattern pieces she has it kind of cut like this. We're not going to do that. I've already put a little slit just along that line there for marking. So don't do the little V things down. We are going to do it the way I like to do it, which is actually very similar. You can do it that way too if you like. Take your pen. Now it's very important that we mark the top of these so we don't get them going the wrong way. So I'm just going to put a T on the top of both of these. Okay. And then I'm going to take my pattern piece and lay it down. And where I cut along those lines, I'm just going to draw my line. Now you don't want this line to be any more than 1 inch, okay? So it's better to be too big than too small. If it's too big, your hidden connector will look messy. So now when I'm drawing across here, I can tell it's not 1 inch because hers goes down to 1 inch this way. So let me just grab, where is my little ruler? Can I grab another ruler? There it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my 1 inch ruler and I'm going to put it nice and centered on here. And then just extend those out to 1 inch like that. So about 1/8 of an inch on either side of that line. It's just like how we did it in the Lola classes. And I also have a more in-depth tutorial in my Bag Maker's Basics playlist on how to do these. Okay, so once you have that 1 inch line, I'm just going to go in with my rotary cutter. I'm not going to do the whole line with it. I'm just going to start it because I'm going to go in with my scissors. Okay. Again, you don't want to go much bigger than the 1 inch. So just cut to that 1 inch line. We're not going to be installing the connectors just yet. This is just for prep work for later. So if you're slightly smaller, that's better than being too big. Okay, so again, very important we have our tops because these aren't centered. It's wider down here than it is up here. So you can put one of those aside for now. And we are going to pull out our piece here again. Find your top and bottom centers of this one. Coco says hi. Okay, I'm going to lay it so I know that my T is at the top. Now this one is a little bit tricky because we have this already assembled. So you want to take the bottom, put it right sides together centered. So make sure your top isn't what you're attaching. Match up that center. Clip in place. My hands do not want to work. I did not get very much sleep last night. Couldn't even fall asleep till about 1 a.m. It's crazy. I must have known that I'd be having a morning. Okay, so this is how that looks. I'm going to just double check. Okay, so we're going to sew through here with the seam allowance, fold this up after that, so the seam is going towards the top panel, and then we're going to top stitch through that top panel. Okay, so you kind of have to fold this up, make sure you're not sewing through this panel here, you're just sewing through that top panel and the top of this case. So it's a little bit awkward, but not too bad. Just gonna hold it back. Switch to your top stitch length. And again, we're going to push the seam so it is going up towards that top panel and top stitch through the top panel to hold that seam in place. All right, so this is what that looks like. Now we are going to go a little different than the pattern, the pattern order. So we're just going to set this piece aside for now, and we are going to pull out our base piece. So you will have already put on your Decaville heavy piece as per where it says to go in the pattern. I have mine already nice and centered on, and we're going to make our placement for our purse feet. So you can use the pattern piece for placement. I didn't print off the pattern piece as I measured my pieces, but you're going to measure in 2 inches up and 1.5 inches in for your purse feet placement if you're doing them. So go ahead and mark those. It's an odd looking bottom piece, but you'll see why. So where it looks like it's wider here, this part actually becomes part of the front of the bag. It's really cool. 2 inches in, 1.5 up. Did I do that right? No, 2 inches up, 1.5 in. Second guessing myself. Okay, and then of course 1 in the middle. So go ahead and install your purse feet as per the manufacturer's instructions for your purse feet. I just like to go in and make my slits with my X-Acto knife. And your purse feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 extra. Come out. Where did my slits go? Hard to see it through this vinyl. There's it. There we go. That helped. 1. Here's my other one. Right there. Okay, I like to give it a twist. We don't have to back them with any scraps of deckable heavy because we already have the deckable heavy there. Done good. And then I like to back them, as you know, with Gorilla Tape or duct tape. Cut these into smaller pieces. So that is the bottom all done. Then what we're going to do is take it with this piece. We're going to put them right sides together, matching up that center. I know we haven't done our magnetic snaps or our turn lock. I prefer to do that after we have our main interfacing on, just so it has a little bit more structure behind our prongs and behind our magnetic snaps. To make sure that they have enough to grab onto. So we will do those once we have all of that put on. We're almost to that point. So the purse feet placement is on page 25, step number 4 and 5. Oh my goodness, I wonder if somebody's here. And then putting this bottom on, let me find it, is on the next page, on page 26 of the pattern. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to sew across here with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and then turn this out like so and top stitch through the base to hold that in place. Thread. I lost the bobbin race. Let me quickly change that. Yeah. Clip that back into place. Okay, take 2. Change to top stitch length. Make sure that that seam is going towards that bottom panel and top stitch through the bottom. See, she's not a super big bag. Now you want that top stitching to look really good because that is actually going to end up forming, like so, part of the bottom of the bag. Okay, so this is where we are at for now. Go ahead and put this part aside for now. Now we want to grab our other top panel, the one that we put the slits in, our back pocket lining. Oops, I have to put my zipper pull on there. Cut your zipper tape to the same width as the back panel piece, okay? Put on your zipper pull. I'll just quickly do that, oops. Now I am going to end up using double-sided tape here, but you can definitely use clips instead. So what we're going to do is along the exterior back piece, we're going to put some double-sided tape. So it's right side up. I'm going to make sure our zipper pull is going to the left, if that's the direction you want it to go. We're going to put it right sides together and stick it down to the tape or clip it with clips. Like so. I'm going to take our back pocket lining piece, make sure you've got your width right. It's actually square, so it doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to use some more tape. Put it on the right side of one of the edges. This is working on our back panel. So again, this is on page 23, step 6. If you're following along in the pattern. Put this right sides down. So it's right sides together with our exterior piece and going along the wrong side of the zipper. So, and sandwich that zipper. And then we're going to put on our zipper foot and we're going to sew through there with a 3/8 of an inch. All right, so I am going to change into my right zipper foot because that will make it so our seam allowance gets to where it needs to be. We want it to be fairly accurate here, because if that seam allowance is off by even a little bit, it will alter the size of your back panel. So putting a zipper foot on definitely helps get it nice and close. Or if you have one of those like little teeny tiny feet where you can get the seam allowance, that works too. I know there's a name for that, I just can't think about it right now. I think my boys just got home. I apologize for Coco's barking. Okay, so sew across there with the A. I have Dexter in here with me. Hopefully he doesn't knock the camera. Sew across there with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. If the camera shakes, you know he is walking by it. Make sure my needle's down before I move my zipper pull out of the way. Okay, and then while we're at the machine, we're going to do our top stitching at the same time. So you're going to pull your lining piece and your exterior piece right sides or wrong sides together like so. Make sure they're pressed nice and tight away from each other. Oh, Dexter. Oh, he's knocking the camera. Okay, let me reset the camera and get the dogs from down. One moment. Okay, let's try this again. Well, my son was super nice and he brought me a Starbucks. He knows I needed it. Okay, so again, we have brought the lining panel and the exterior panel wrong sides together, and we're going to top stitch with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance through the exterior panel. This back panel comes together so incredibly fast. Needle down if you have to move your zipper pull. And keep your zipper foot on for now. We'll need it for one more seam. Back to the table. Okay, so this is what we have. Now what we want to do, oops, make sure we don't have any strings hanging out anywhere to get caught in the zipper. On the other end of our lining piece, I'm going to use more double-sided tape. Again, you can use clips if you like. And we are going to stick this to the opposite end of the zipper tape. So the zipper tape is wrong side up right now. We're going to bring the lining panel, fold it in half, right sides together, and line it up with the top of the zipper tape, making sure everything is nice and even. Just like so. Okay, flip it over. Now we're going to take our piece that we did the little slits in, make sure we know where our top is. So I like to just situate it so my T is at the top like so. And then we are going to bring this, I'm going to find my top and bottom centers. Okay, so again, make sure my T is going the right way to the top. Bring these right sides together, clip it in place. Actually, I'm going to use tape again. You can use clips if you like. I find when I use clips, my zippers don't end up nice and straight, so that's why I prefer to use the tape. But I know some machines are very sensitive to tape, so just know the sensitivities of your machine. Again, making sure my top is at the top, bringing it right sides together along there. And we're going to sew through there with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Fold this up with the seam going to the top panel and top stitch with 1/8 of an inch through that top panel. So we still have our zipper foot on there. Back down to our stitch length and 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. There's my zipper pull out of the way. My brain just turned off for a moment there. Did you see that? So you can see that's created a loop, and that's what we want. Flip this over, fold that seam up so it's going towards that top panel, and then top stitch through that top panel. Oops, I'm going to go this way. So make sure the seam is going towards the top panel. And we have a nice and straight zipper. Yay! I'm using a really, really thick vinyl. You guys can probably see me kind of fussing with it because it doesn't want to pull down. Let's get that in place. Okay, and while we're at the machine, so you can see our zipper works, but we still have these open sides. So we're just going to go ahead. I got to trim my lining. I can see here a little bit. The lining should line up with our exterior panel here, but start just above where our zipper is, and we're going to base this in place. So when I get to where my teeth are, I like to go back and forth to form a stop, just in case my zipper pull decides to try to fly off. Just base that in place. I will trim that excess lining at the table. Again, when you get to the zipper teeth, back stitch just to create a stop there. And that fully encloses our pocket. I'm going to go ahead and change into my standard foot again. So you don't need the zipper foot anymore. Oh, no, I lied. No, I won't need it for a little bit. We will need the zipper foot again here momentarily, but we can put this one on for now. So as the time is coming, I think we're going to end up, I'm going to film 2 classes because I'm going to have to run out for my car stuff soon. Okay, but we're okay for now. Okay, so I am going to see how my lining is hanging over. I'm just going to trim it up so it's the same as the rest of the panel. On this side. And we should have a working pocket, and we do. Now, we're going to take this piece, we're going to revisit this piece. Oops, I'm going to find my bottom center of my back panel here because I didn't do that. Just like so. And we're going to put this right sides together with the other side of the base that we haven't sewn yet. So with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and then top stitch again through that bottom panel, just like we did with the opposite side. Okay, so let's go do that. Okay, 3/8. Okay, and then open that up with that seam going towards the bottom panel, and then top stitch through the bottom panel. Again, I'm using a really thick vinyl and it's fighting me. It wants to go the opposite way. Okay, so now we're to the point where we want to talk about interfacings we're using. Okay, so this is what we have. You can see how our exterior is starting to come together. You can see how part of that bottom piece ends up being the front and back of the bag. It's coming together nicely. So, yes, what we want to do here is, in the pattern, she calls for deckable light. I'm not going to be using deckable light. I'm going to be using foam, and I'll show you how I'm going to use foam. I find the foam is going to give it a really, really nice structure. I'm a foam girl, but mainly because deckable light is my nemesis. So if you're following the pattern, what you're going to do is you're going to be fusing your deckable light outside of the seam allowances over top of the whole works. So you're going to have to take some care because there's a lot of bulk here. So you're going to want to make sure you get into all of the little crevices and make sure your deckable light is stuck down super, super good. Okay. I myself have a hard time with deckable light fusing properly to begin with, let alone with all of the layers that we are fusing this to. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing it this way. I just prefer the foam. So if you're using the deckable light, you're going to go ahead and do that on those pieces. And you'll also do it on your side pieces. So I've already done it on my side pieces because I was going to use deckable light until I got to this point. And then I decided I'm going to change it to foam. So what you're going to do if you're using foam, is you are going to take your foam piece and use it as your template here. But you are going to make sure that you cut the foam a 1 inch by 1 inch square out of all 4 of the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out first. I always do my foam a little bit bigger because I go back in and I trim that foam back nice. And I can show you how I do that too. It's something I learned from Anna at Galaxy Customs. It is an upholstery trick, and it just really helps get that foam. I really need to change my rotary blade. A lot less bulky. Okay. Oh my goodness, my dogs. So, what I mean by that is the top 4 corners. I'm just going to cut the foam away. It doesn't have to be exact, by about 1 inch by 1 inch, so the foam isn't in the top corners, okay? You'll do the same for this side, this side, this side. Baste this all to the foam. So you're going to take your 2 side pieces and you're going to do the exact same thing if you're using foam. I'm actually going to be using Decibel Light and foam because I already have it fused, but it's out of the seam allowances. I'm not worried about it. And you're going to make sure you leave the foam outside of the top 2 corners of that as well. I think. Is that right? I'm trying to remember if I left it out of the bottom 2 corners as well. I'm trying to remember how this goes together. Let me double check something because I believe I had to leave it out of the bottom corners too. Because I think we do something. Let me double check. Let me double check. Sorry, guys. Because, yes, we do. So when you're fusing your, or when you're putting your foam onto these ones, leave the foam out of all 4 corners, okay? So that is going to take a little bit of time. So I think we're almost 45 minutes into this class. So I think I'm going to get this part uploaded. We're going to say homework is going to be to either fuse that Decibel Light, which will take you a little bit of time to do, or baste your foam, leaving it out of the outside corners of our main body pieces and our 4 corners of our side pieces. So that'll be homework for that. And I have to actually run out, and I have my mechanic friends coming to take a peek at my car, so hopefully they can get that fixed, and I'm going to have some lunch. So yes, there will be a 4th class as well, and that'll be putting the rest of the exterior together, doing the lining and putting it all together. So I'm going to get this one uploaded for everybody today, and then I will get another class filmed over the next few days and get that up for all of you as well. So if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Just shoot me a message on an email or on Messenger, and I am more than willing to help you. So yes, so this is class 3. I will upload a pre-recorded class 4, and remember, I am always here to help you. Again, thank you so much for understanding my situation of what's going on today, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.